to throw it off Harden and missed him. Don't ever talk about his defense again. What a play. The Houston Rockets advance to take on the Los Angeles Lakers.
That defensive stop, you let out a scream afterwards. What were you feeling at that moment?
Offensively, I felt like, excuse my language.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take, and boy, do we have a busy show for you. I thought we would be starting with the Rockets. Gentlemen, Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman, I'm Molly Karen Rose. But we have breaking news that takes place right behind our studio across that bridge, fellas. The Nets have hired a new head coach, and it's Hall of Fame point guard Steve Nash. Adrian Wojnarowski reporting this news. It's a 4-year deal for Nash. Interim coach Jacques Vaughn will stay on as an assistant. Here's part of GM Sean Marks' statement, quote, "In Steve, we see a leader, communicator, and mentor who will garner the respect of our players." Stephen A., talk to me.
Max Kellerman, Molly, this is one of the toughest positions that I've ever had to take in my career on First Take. And here is why. I want to first state that Steve Nash has no coaching experience. But if you talk about an outlier, an individual that is just special on so many levels, it is Steve Nash. Not just as a player, but his mentorship to some degree with Steph Curry. The brothers that he has looked out for and supported when Quentin Richardson was his teammate and he took money off his plate to make sure Quentin Richardson got paid. When he had his man Steven Jackson, his former teammate, his teammate at the time, living with him and took him in and looked out for him. The respect that he has around the league, his smarts, his intelligence, his basketball IQ. Steve Nash is a sensational dude. And if anybody deserves this opportunity, absent the experience that obviously he has as a coach, it is him. It happened for Steve Kerr, who had never coached on any level before, but he took over Golden State, and look at the job that he's done. Steve Nash is widely respected and loved by a whole bunch of people in the NBA, black, white, and beyond. Congratulations to him. He deserves it. I get it. But this ain't about him, what I'm about to say. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no way around this. This is white privilege. This does not happen for a black man. No experience whatsoever on any level as a coach. And you get the Brooklyn Nets job. I know that Kyrie and KD have both signed off on this. I know they both support this move. But I'm thinking about a champion that is Ty Lue, passed up. I'm thinking about a guy who built the foundation for the Golden State Warriors in Mark Jackson, passed up. I'm thinking about the years that Sam Cassell has served as an assistant, first in the nation's capital in D.C., and now with the Los Angeles Clippers, passed up. And it's for a guy, my God, one of the best guys you could possibly meet in your life, and may do a fantastic job, but a guy that has no experience whatsoever. In these times where we're making all of this noise about social justice, I got news for y'all, Molly and Max. I have said this to people on numerous occasions right here on this show. Yes, that was the tipping point. George Floyd's killing, his murder, violence against black men who are unarmed. All of that stuff is true. But the frustration, the protest, and all of these things that you've seen in the streets throughout America, emanating from the black community and disenfranchised communities, is that proverbial glass ceiling. And the fact that it breeds a level of frustration that we can't even put into words sometimes. You just want to scream to the high heavens. How the hell does this always happen for somebody else other than us? Why is it that we have to be twice as good to get half as much? Why is it that no matter what we do and how hard we work and how we go through the process and the terrain of everything, somehow, some way, there's another excuse to ignore that criteria, to ignore those credentials, and instead bypass it and make an exception to the rule for someone other than us. So I'm depressed right now because I have to bring that up. because Steve Nash doesn't deserve it. I think Steve Nash is going to do a hell of a job in Brooklyn. I think that he's going to resonate with Kyrie and KD. And not only that, his record in terms of looking out for one brother after another. I love this brother, Steve Nash. He is a beautiful person, and I'm so happy for him just on its face. But when I take into account all that it entails, and I think about the black men that were passed up in Brooklyn, New York City. We got Thibodeau at Madison Square Garden, who's obviously highly respected and deserves it. And now we got Steve Nash, who has no coaching resume, but a lot of people believe in him, and they should. Yet again, we find ourselves looking at a situation as black people. You know what? Everything as egregious as it is to kill an unarmed black man, to shoot him, and things of that nature. There are a multitude of ways where black folks, particularly black men, have been sliced and diced up and thrown out to pasture. And if I'm Sam Cassell, if I'm Ty Lue, if I'm Mark Jackson and these boys, that's how I'm feeling right now when I heard the news that two superstars in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving signed off on this man being the new head coach in Brooklyn. I'm sure he's going to do a good job. I know Kyrie and KD ain't going to lose. I'm just saying, damn, as time changes, things remain the same.
Well, I understand the sentiment. In this case, however, Stephen A., and by the way, I realize always when there's a white guy who's hired, it's always, well, in this case. But in this case, Steve Nash was, I think they called it a player development consultant with the Warriors, right? When, like, right before KD got there.
He was.
But he was really
That's
more
true.
like a player development coach, particularly with KD. And they worked together a lot, and I'm sure formed a bond. And you can't tell me that KD didn't have veto power here, at least, right? If not, was consulted. I mean, if I ran an organization before I hired the captain. What's that? Right.
He completely signed off.
So
yes, from what I was told.
and I would say that KD is very aware of the moment we're in, and yet he signed off on this. So while under many circumstances, were there a hire of a white coach with no coaching background, really, although again, with the Warriors, he's kind of a coach, I would understand what you're saying. But I'm going to butt in this case you. But in this case, if the most important player in your franchise's history in the NBA, I mean, you can go back to the ABA with Dr. J, but in the Nets' history in the NBA, the most important player so far is KD, who hasn't yet played for them. And if that guy has really a coach that he related to and bonded with and worked with, and really, did KD take his game to a new level in Golden State, or was he just on a great team, and now you plop KD down into that great team? Of course, they're going to win championships. I would say, if anything, he got even better as an overall player with Golden State in terms of his defense and his passing and everything.